Sim Racing Dan here with ISRA League's GTC Series Season 4 Race 2, 55 minutes at Laguna, Seca. And green flag, we're off. I started here in 12th position and I get a good run on a couple people here ahead of Jills and Gerald, and ahead of me is John Kuzlin. Jills though gets a very bold inside pass on turn 1. I go alongside John and get ahead. And I go a little bit wide into the right-hander there, but it's alright because John was well behind me at that point. Jill's getting a little bit of an off, but that's not enough to help me here. And the line of traffic is established. So now it's just a matter of keeping it clean for a couple laps while the field spreads out and seeing if there are any mistakes I can take advantage of. A good gap here opening up behind me. I've got 2 seconds to check behind me, so at this point I'm at the end of the, I guess you'd say, the competitive pack. Jill's there making a great pass on Timothy Stoll, coming through out of the corkscrew, putting Timothy ahead of me, and do I have him on the inside line? Yes, I do. And coming down to turn 1 for the first real turn 1 at full speed. Jill's goes a little bit wide. Again, not going to help me. This is a very narrow, very technical and twisted track, so it's going to take a fairly serious mistake for me to be able to take advantage of it, because there's not a whole lot of time ever before the next turn comes up. But that's alright. Puts me here in 11th position, and I'm happy to cruise around and see what happens behind Jill's here. I qualified ahead of him. I'm feeling like at this point he's really smoking those tires, and I've got a little bit more speed than he has, so again, it's just a question of when or if he'll make that mistake that I'm able to capitalize on. Dreaded corkscrew there. Got through it twice so far, that's good. I went a little bit wide exiting on the last turn. That's not going to help me coming up the straight. And 152 miles an hour looks like before we enter the braking zone. Nice battle going on here between Luke and John Rositas. That's enough ahead of me that I can't really think about it right now. It's all about how can I get past Jills. Looks like he had a little bit of trouble coming through the left-hander, ending up on the left-handed side of the track on his out. And that right there was a pretty messy job through there because he didn't cut the corner at all, lost a lot of speed, but again, just not a whole lot of opportunity to take advantage of it. I almost lose it through the corkscrew there. Braking a little bit extra hard, trying to see if I could get by. In the end, I just tried to see if I could get through. And I did. That corkscrew is just such a vicious section of the track. The braking zone just has no feeling in it for me. So it's always, I always feel like I'm sliding into it. Either that or I feel like I'm going way too slow into it on the other end of things. Alright, again, I got a great exit, but there's not enough room to have it help me at all. Another better exit there. That's going to pick me up a little bit of time, but again, just cannot get past. Jules gets a better run through the left-hander there. Mine is a little bit better than his, though. I get onto the brakes. I see him start to go wide, but then I also screw up. Oh! And I gun it to get out of the corkscrew right before Timothy Stoll comes through. Then I try to turn it around without re-entering the track. That was a mistake. If I'd looked at my F3 screen, I would have seen that I had tons of time. Stay on the side of the track while the V8s get by, and then pull myself back into the traffic. And that's the beginning of the disaster of this race. I'm now 13.9 seconds behind Chuck. I wasn't sure if I was going to get the pass by there, so it was a little bit ugly going side by side there into that turn, but worked out all right. Now behind the class leader of V8, Chris. Chris, who had a Scottish last name that got modified, so I'm not even sure exactly how to pronounce it. I go by, but I get a little bit off, not too badly though. Now 15 seconds, 14 seconds behind the 13th place Corvette. Oh, cutting that a little bit in too much. That really hurt the suspension. Ouch. And once again, the dreaded corkscrew. And I almost lose it that time. Locking up a rear and just barely making it through. So unlike Spa, where I took it nice and easy, it was a good 2-hour endurance race, and I knew as long as I kept those solid laps without mistakes, I'd do pretty well. Here, it was a 55-minute race, and it's a highly technical track, and for some reason I didn't take that same outlook that what I needed to do, particularly starting where I did. I started in 12th position. You know, the only way I was going to win there, or, you know, get some really good placement was either through attrition or, if not attrition, at least mistakes on other people's parts. I just was not going to be able to outrace that many people qualified ahead of me in 55 minutes. So I really took the wrong outlook for this race. I should have taken it easy, been patient, and well, you know what the funny thing is, in that corkscrew spin, I really did think I was taking it easy. I braked before Jill's, and I was ready to take it in nice and slow, but unfortunately I walked up too, and that was the end of that. Here we go back into the corkscrew. Will I make it through this time? Yes, I will. Every time I enter the corkscrew, it's a terrifying experience, and I have to ask, will I make it through this time? The good news here, well, see, here's maybe that's not why it's good news. According to the timing here, I'm now 13.5 seconds behind Frank Hogan. So I'm pushing it here, and they're picked up 2 seconds compared to my last lap, and 122s were pretty much all I was able to run. The fast guys did 119 to, you know, and 120, but 122 is really as fast as I went. I don't think I ever got a 121 in practice. So that last lap was me pushing it, me getting the best lap I could. And there you can see I'm picking up time on the back of the Corvette pack, but it's just not worth the risk of mistake. At this point, especially, there's nothing I can gain by racing hard. Now I have to hope that attrition is going to get me some places, but that's not how I did it. That's not how I raced it. Instead, I went for the hard racing. Here we go again for the corkscrew. And I make it through again. Every trip through the corkscrew is great victory. Hey, looks like someone screwed up there. It looks like it must have been Matthew, who was quite a bit ahead, I think, and now is only 7 seconds ahead of me. So Matthew and Don also. Actually, now I'm recalling the incident. I've seen what it looked like. It was Matthew and Don and a late model got together a little bit. Looks like Don went in for the pit stop there. He must have figured he had some damage and could get some repairs. One mandatory pit stop here in these ISRA non-enduro races. I guess he figured he'd get it over with now. As far as fuel goes, the Corvette just needed a little bit of a topping off, I think. Maybe 4 or 5 gallons beyond its maximum capacity. In order to get through the race, I decided to go with a 50-50 pit strategy. So you can see I loaded up. I've got about 10 gallons remaining, now 9.9 gallons. And that was because I figured I had to take tires. Oh, going a little bit fast into the corkscrew again, but I make it through again. Matthew, again, here, good fast driver. I just lost sight of him on the F3 screen, but I think he's about 8 seconds ahead of me. Sean ahead of me here in the late model. And, oh, an incident on the last turn. Sean absorbs it. There was a yellow flag waving. Matthew and late model, well, Matthew and Sean getting mixed up in that, and another late model that had previously been part of the incident also getting mixed up in it. From the transmission there, it looks like it might have been Marty. Although, yeah, it might have been Marty. Alright, where does that put me? Well, that puts me back in 12th position here. Once again behind Gilles, so I've got my place back, and Gilles is actually just 2.6 seconds ahead of me, so something must have happened to him somewhere along the line there. So there we go, the attrition element is playing out. Oh, but I spin it going into the corkscrew and hit the wall. I entered just way too fast. Fortunately, I'm not buried in the wall, but again, very tricky always to get out of here. I just pull a tiny bit on track to get those rear tires, a little bit of traction to get me going, and then I looked at the F3 screen. I had the brake and traffic, so I pulled out into it. But man, disaster number 2 strikes. And at this point, I'm a little bit frazzled. Get a little bit squirrely on the acceleration there. And interesting, well, I think that people are pitting at this point, so it's not really possible to tell if I lost any positions there. I don't remember. I wasn't watching the for any Corvette traffic to get by. But I'm left in 11th position here. That's definitely not where I am going to end up. I certainly didn't pick up a position by screwing up the corkscrew, so someone must have pitted, and maybe someone's pitted. Alright, now I'm trying to take it nice and easy through the corkscrew, but I'm still locking it up. I am just braking too aggressively there. I tell you, it's the trickiest corner. It just feels like I'm braking into it too much and going too slowly if I brake any earlier. But, you know, based on my performance here, that's obviously the way you have to go. Sometimes you feel like you're really slow, but in fact you are going fast. I suppose my locking up and fast entry probably is a little bit quicker, but it's just so incredibly risky. It can't be sustainable throughout a race. bit wide there, but all right. And a mistake there on the part of, oh, unfortunately the camera's a little out of focus, I can't quite read it. That was a late model, so it doesn't affect my race at all. Oh, once again, cutting that left hand a little bit too much, and just that poor suspension, man. It's a good thing. People complain that the damage model is too sensitive in iRacing, but it's really not. It's actually a little bit too sturdy. You know, I ran into those tires, and I'm pretty much totally okay. And likewise, that would have potentially punctured a tire, that left-hander, and also potentially damaged my suspension or my alignment or something. But it did none of the above. So for everyone who says that the damage model is too sensitive, I say let's crank it up a notch. Let's get it really sensitive. Let's you know, pit for damage that we caused during the normal racing. Don now right behind me. He's a fast guy who, you know, as you recall, got behind me due to a pit because of that incident with Matthew. And there's no sense in me holding him up. I know that he's going to be going faster, so I waved him by. And here he goes into the left-hander. That was a good good turn right there. I got through over 100 miles an hour. That's the way you want to do it in a Corvette. And once again, oh man, I'm just like yelling at myself. What is going on, me? Not again. Fortunately, I managed to pretty much keep it together, still facing forwards, but this is just not my race. Next week is Mid-Ohio, and in fact I'm recording this commentary on Sunday, so that would be tomorrow night's race. I'm really looking forward to it. I've always liked the flow of Mid-Ohio a little bit more than Laguna Seca. I know a lot of people say they hate Laguna Seca. I don't hate this track. It's always frustrating and always challenging, but I'm always also up for that, even if it means I have a little bit of a disaster. And I think definitely in my future races at this track, I'm going to just take it easier and go for a cleaner race. Because this is certainly a frustrating way to go. And we've got Lance here in the 75. Get by him nicely. He goes on the outside, me on the inside. We've got a 3-pack here of late models. No, I'm sorry, that's a late model and a Corvette and a V8. That wasn't expected. Gilles again. Gilles, who's now a lap down, he must have pitted. Because again, I don't recall passing him, and I certainly didn't pick up any positions, screwing up the way I have. I'm going to assume that he has made some mistake on the, somewhere ahead of me, and additionally pitted to lose that much time, but I'm able to get a lap ahead of him. And gunning it down the straight. He is not eager to let me by, so that's alright, not a problem. Oh, but he does under braking. Thank you very much, sir. Looking ahead of me at the traffic right now, I've got Matthew Voigt in the V8's 19.2 seconds ahead of me. So there is no Corvette traffic to be seen anywhere. You've pretty much got the misfits. That would be us folks in the Corvettes who have managed to spin and bury our cars and things, and everyone else who's raced a clean race, and they're probably 50 seconds ahead of me at this point. Oh, once again, just entering the corkscrew a little bit too fast. on the edge of my seat. And just checking the F1 screen to see who's ahead of me and how much, since the F3 isn't being any help. And I've got Jill's 2.6 seconds behind me, but aside from that, yeah, I'm running alone. And here's where I really just should have said, alright, listen, I'm in 12th. At this point, it's got to be just take it easy and run it however it goes, because I've certainly, again, screwed up so much that the only way I can be in any positions is through other people screwing up more. I'm definitely not going to outrace anyone at this point in the race. But that wasn't the mindset I was in. I was in the mindset that, hey, listen, look, Don's just 7 seconds ahead of me. I don't know why he's going so slow. Maybe he's got damage. I can totally pick up a position there if I can get by him. And don't ask me, that was just the race getting to my head. Matthew Voigt, he was red, white, and blue. He had been that 19 seconds ahead of me. Getting past. On the F3 screen, the race leader, David Serrois, has been popping up right at the bottom there. So I'm in danger of going a lap down on the race leader. We are now on lap 16 here of this 55-minute race. And if you figure that each of my laps is taking a little over a minute and a third, that puts me pretty close to my pit window. Well, I've got, looks like 5 gallons left of gas, so maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm not as close as I thought. It was tempting to go in and challenge Ryan through the corkscrew, but decided against it. Again, well, fortunately something kicked in my brain and that started working. There's no point. Oh no! Going through the exit, I get off and oh man, not another mistake. That's what I just keep saying to myself over and over and over again. Not another mistake. But there it was. Mike Young in 10th position now in the pits. That tells me he probably has around 30 seconds on me, though he wasn't moving in the pits, so it could have been a fairly large window of time there. Check that out, though. Don Hunter now 20 seconds ahead of me, so if you recall, he was 7 seconds ahead of me just a few moments ago, and that's where that gigantic mistake has left me. So once again, you'd think I'd go into conservation mode and just take it easy, not worry about it, and concentrate on getting through. And actually, that time through the corkscrew, it looks like I did just that. Took it nice and slow, got through cleanly, and without any real drama. Now at this point, David Serrois is 2.7 seconds behind me. That's the race leader there in that black Corvette. And I almost spin it coming to the last turn exit. What a complete mess. David Serrois now 1.5 seconds behind me. I'm getting the blue flag, but now it's gone away because he was just a little bit farther behind at this point. So I'm gonna see how long it takes him to get up close to me, and then, oh no, not another mistake. Yeah. Alright, well, it was an easy way to let David by, I suppose. Looks like someone else screwed up there too. And I've got 4.6 gallons of gas remaining. Not sure why. Oh, that's why. Because I figured that with all my mistakes, I did not need to load up with as much fuel as I thought I had to. So I dropped that down to 10 gallons of fill. And I do believe I'm headed for the pits this lap. We're about halfway through the race. I've easily achieved through halfway through my tires. And no, I thought I was going to pit. I did not pit this lap. I'm not entirely certain what I was thinking there. All those spins, all those lockups, they must have done a lot of damage to those tires. So, if anything, you know, it makes sense to pit now, get fresh tires, and just run cleanly on a nice fresh set of tires that I can count on. I don't know why I didn't have that in mind. It's obvious I was thinking about pitting, but didn't decide to commit to it quite yet. Well, that was a fairly slow execution of that left-hander, so maybe I have gone to conservation mode. I shouldn't say really conservation mode, it's conservative mode. Conservation mode is really when you're trying to not use fuel. Me, I'm trying to not use spins or something like that. Alright, coming up behind Jerry Ninder here, and I do believe I'm going to pit this lap. Let's see if it happens. Yes, I am entering the pits. Alright, I am not cutting anything out of this video here. This is a straight through video, so you're going to sit with me through my pit stop. Too far forward. Well, I was trying to be realistic and avoid hitting Frank, but that didn't work out too well. You can see me just hanging my head back, thinking, what the hell have I done this race? Let's try to get it together and see what we can do. Fortunately, I didn't get caught behind anyone in pit entrance or exit. It's always frustrating when you've got, particularly a slower class who takes the entry and exit slower. Some people are also a little bit more conservative in entry and exit than others, so it's also frustrating to get stuck behind that. Sounds like my dogs are about to bark. I apologize for that. And now Timothy Stoll in fourth position. Oh, wow. Marty almost shoved me off the track there, but I managed to get through. Oh, and also managed to get through the corkscrew. That was a little bit ugly. I thought he was giving me the left, and then he was sort of in the center of the track, and managed to keep it together, but whew, that was a close one. So as I was about to say, Timothy Stoll in fourth place now, about to lap me, although I don't know if he's pitted or not yet. Probably not. Mike Kelly is just behind me as well. He's in third position. I'm not sure why I didn't see him before. Oh, I see, because Mike and Tim are mixing it up. They must be having a great race right now, because I see their names swapping a whole lot of them. Look at that, Mike, Tim, and Chris spins, and then he guns it on the on recovery, and I was gonna go wide. He went a little bit wide, and that collision, I get the meatball. Pit for repairs, and you can see my wheel is off center by 90 degrees, and that will probably do it for me. Just getting off the track entirely. There's no point in being on the track at this speed. And in fact, that did destroy it for me. I hauled it back to the pits, and they said we were done, too much damage, and that was end of race for me. ISRA League for this season has a policy of if you can drive it back safely, do so. This might be what you would consider an unsafe drive back. I'll have to, double check. I'm sure someone in the league will watch this video and give me some advice there. I certainly was obviously not at full speed. I wasn't even at half speed. Okay, Gerald's spinning there, hopefully not because of me, but I'm afraid it might have been. There are no escapes from cars in this season. You're allowed to escape after you've pulled off and gotten the okay from Colin, which is probably what I should have done here. If you wreck and your car is unresponsive, you need to sit there, and that is the case that would bring out the yellow flag if that ever happened. Hasn't happened yet, though. Alright, well, that's the race, and we'll take a quick look at the standings after we pull into the pits here, and hopefully I'll have a better race tomorrow night at Mid-Ohio. Before we get to the points, I want to remind everyone that is an iRacing subscriber that the password to spectate is posted to the iRacing forums prior to every race around 10 p.m. on Monday nights. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So you are always welcome to join and spectate us. Now, looking at the points, we've got in the GT class, Thomas Stockman's leading off with 46 points, David Sirwa close behind in second, then Don Hunter, and Mike Kelly in fourth. A big point split down to fifth for Eric Palacio. And then there I am in sixth, Daniel Quaroni, having dropped down from fourth after Spa. Then Chuck Chambliss in seventh, Luke Poulin in eighth, Frank Hogan ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is Timothy Stoll. In the GS class, the Ford Falcon, we've got Chris Coe, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, with 49 points, closely followed by Kevin Savoy. And then Adam Bloom is a little bit farther behind. Daniel Gralti in fourth. R.C. Vigas fifth. Evan Millard sixth. James Mines seventh. Jeremy Boris in eighth. Paul Hessela in ninth. And finally, Don Norris in 10th. In the ST class, the Chevy Monte Carlo SS, we've got Tim McLeish with 42 points. Julio Palacio coming up with 40 right behind. Ryan Huff in third. John Middleton fourth. Brent Briles in 5th, Jim McGinnis 6th, Jerry Knitter 7th, Carl Moonbauer 8th, Lance Snyder 9th, and finally Sean Jury in 10th. Well, looking forward to the next race. See you then.